Hello again, YouTube, and I'm back with an update video here, and I've incorporated the repaired cell into my bank, and I need it to charge at a very high rate so that I can rejuvenate it. The cell has been repaired for all intents and purposes. It has been repaired. This was the previously shorted cell, and now I need to rejuvenate it. And right now I am charging it at 1.9 volts. I'm using the inverter chargers in addition to my solar to charge my cells. And right now you can see I'm charging my entire bank at 145 amps. So this is in conjunction, this is the Connext inverter charger with my solar combined. It's for 144 amps going to the battery bank. And again, this is, when doing stuff like this, it's dangerous, so you have to, be aware and take some type of precautions. And so what I'm doing is, this is a controlled overcharge of this particular cell. That's all it is. It's a controlled overcharge. And I'm looking at it, it's at 1.9 volts now. So at some point, hopefully it'll just kind of settle down. So this is to wake this cell up. Now to touch this cell, the key point here, we need to make sure that it's not heating up. It's not, warming up beyond what is acceptable. Right now, it's very cool to the touch. Very cool to the touch. And so that's key to make sure that that it's not shorted again. And make sure, and also with this right here, to make sure that it's actually indeed taking a charge. So now it's kind of settling down, and you can see also the amperage is kind of decreasing too. It's so far so good. So far so good. So when it settles down a little bit more, then I'll be happy. What I did was I forced my inverter charger to go into a bulk mode, and then it went from bulk to absorption. And right now my state of charge is actually 60%, and it was at like 30% this morning, or just above it, or something like that. I'm not going to keep this high for much longer. Essentially all I wanted to do was to wake up the cell. And you need based on my experience with the previous cells, you need a high state of charge, not a state, but a high amperage to wake these cells up. And then once they've woken up and you've charged and discharged through a period of cycles, then these cells they start performing the way you want them to. But in any case, this right here, this cell, you can see that the voltage. You can see that the voltage is actually the voltage is dropping. And so and right now I don't know if you can see on the inside of that, but it is bubbling and doing what it needs to do to charge. Okay, all right, stand by, YouTube, and I'll try to keep you informed. Okay, YouTube, I'm back with another segment here. In this segment, I'm going to show you, I have two cells here, and this cell right here is shorted. This is a shorted cell, another shorted cell, and the one that I was trying to work with and clean, and I believe it was either abused or shorted, or it was a self-inflicted wound, where when I put in vinegar in it, vinegar for these cells or any type of strong acid is a no-no. It's a definite no-no. And this is an old cell here that I need to clean, and you can see what kind of condition it's in. It's a pretty shoddy condition based on the outside, and we can tell that it's a shorted cell by, you can just put two probes on it and you can hear the sound. Okay, that's a shorted cell. And if you can see the same cell, the old cell, you can see that there is no sound. So this is for all intents and purposes, this is a cell that just simply needs to be cleaned. And without some type of repair, this particular cell is only fit for the for the dump. Okay, now I'm gonna try to do this play by play so that you can kind of see what I've got going on here and how I've done it. Okay, stand by, YouTube. Now, in order to take this cell apart, I've got my bench here and I've got the cell clamped down, and I'm going to use this the DeWalt hacksaw that I recently bought from either Lowe's or Home Depot. I forgot which. I think it was Home Depot. But this right here looks like a pretty decent hacksaw. It's like a 5-in-1 type hacksaw because you can adjust the size and the length, and you know, and also the type of, you know, blade. I mean, basically it was one of these 5-in-1 uses. But anyway, I'm gonna cut right along that seam, right around here, carefully. I'm gonna carefully cut that. Now, obviously, you have to make sure that the cell is empty when you do this. Okay, so let's begin the process. Okay, YouTube, what I've done now, I've taken the cell apart, hacksawed it off, and essentially it's made up of these components. These are the spacers that go in between the individual plates, the two nuts on the end, and the two lugs here. The long one is for the positive, and the short one is for the negative anodes, or the negative plate, excuse me. This is the nickel plates here, and looking at it here, they don't look too bad. I can see where it began to bulge. You can see the areas where it was bulging, and also you can see where there was some shorting occurring right here and right here. You can see these points. So essentially what we've got going on here is I'm gonna you know, kind of take a look at each plate. You can look and see what kind of condition these cells are in. Now let's see how old this particular plate this particular cell was. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see here if I can focus. So this cell was produced in 1981. October of 1981, if you can see that. Now, October of 1981, so let's take a look at these particular plates in general. You know, they're in different states of use. Okay, that right there was self-inflicted. Okay, let's see what else here. I can see bulging right there, but you know, generally they're in good condition considering how old they are. And this is, again, this is the areas where I believe some shorting occurred. But looking at the plates, their general condition, okay, you can see that as far as on the negative plates, they're doing pretty well. Okay, they're doing very well. So I don't have any issue there. This is, I mean, I would consider this in outstanding condition based on my repair method. Okay. All right, so the nickel plates are fine. Let's take a look at the cadmium plates. These are the cadmium plates. And for all intents and purposes, I mean, these plates don't look that bad. They are in very good condition. It looks like, you know, the cadmium plates, see, they're not like the other cell that I had where they were just simply disintegrating and falling apart. These cadmium plates look very good, except for the discoloration, which is fine. They look excellent. Now these are the plates that I actually use the citric acid in. I think I might have used vinegar, but I'm not sure. But I know I use citric acid to clean them. But just looking at the cadmium plates, they're doing very, very well. So what I'm going to do is take you along with me as I go through and examine each particular plate to make sure that, you know, it's still in a good condition. And based on, you know, comparing this to the other cell, I mean, this is almost pristine compared to what I had to work with in the other previous cell. And as you can see, they're doing pretty well. Again, this particular cell was produced in 1981, October of 1981. And you can kind of see also right there, you can see that those little brown areas. I believe, again, those are areas where the shorting occurred, and I think that was due to heat. And looking at this, okay, this is the last cell. And as you can see, it looks good. Aside from some discoloration, which so we can definitely deal with that. All right, they look very, very good. Again, looking at the terminals here, this is some residue from my sawing. You can see where I actually, took it off with a hacksaw. So I'm sure there's probably better ways of doing it, but for right now, that's okay. So each one of the terminal connections is fine too. The spacers, they're made, I think they're made out of stainless steel, and they're fine as well. The lugs, there's nothing wrong with that, and obviously the nuts are good to go too. So at this point now, the next phase is to cut out the individual, use the insulating material, this stuff right here, essentially, this big roll that I have, and start cutting out the separators, or the insulating, the separators, so that I can put the cell together. Now, realistically, taking this apart, again, I'm going to film this, so that I can take you folks along with me. However, if I was not filming this, based on what I know now, repairing this cell should take no more than a couple of hours. Literally, it shouldn't, there's the time to cut the cell open, there's the time to take it apart, with a socket wrench, and the time to, take it out and lay out your cells and inspect, and the time it takes to cut out the appropriate size material here. Again, I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to cut it to size, the size of, these particular plates. I'm going to cut it to size, and I'm going to have like, five of this mesh, 5 pieces of this mesh in between each particular plate, and that should do it. And then I'm going to fill it with electrolyte, and then hit it with a charge, a high amperage charge. So this is it. So realistically, it should take no more than 2 hours, maybe 3 at the most, if that. If I wasn't filming this, I mean, right now I feel confident enough, and looking at the cells, the plates, this is recoverable. Okay, I truly believe this is recoverable. But again, this is my second attempt to restore a cell. My other cell is actually being charged it's in the battery bank now, incorporated in the battery bank, and it is currently being charged. Okay, stand by, YouTube. Okay, YouTube, here I've laid them out, all my plates on my driveway here, and this is just to kind of dry off the excess moisture from the plate, so that it'll make it easier to work with. And as you can see laying out, hopefully you can see better in the sun, that these plates are, in very, very decent condition to be, decades old. I mean, they're in very good condition. So these are nickel cadmium plates. And you can bet that the nickel iron plates are pretty much the same. So this is what we're looking at here. These are plates in a cell that was decades old, almost 30 years old, if not close to 30 years old, if not that. So anyway, all right, the work continues. Okay, YouTube, the next phase is to take one of the cells. This is a positive cell with a positive plate. This is the nickel plate, and I'm just kind of outlining. You can see I used this Sharpie, and I'm outlining where I'm going to begin my cut. Now, if you look on the side here, notice that I have just a little bit on the side, and what's going to happen is this is going to overlap. When I put this plate, or this cell, or this plate inside of this little mesh on top of the cell, it's going to overlap a little bit on the sides and at the bottom. Okay, and it's going to overlap at the top. So the idea is to try to provide complete insulation and isolation per cell, electrical isolation per plate. I keep thinking of cell, but these are individual plates. And I'm going to use this, my long ruler here, straight edge, to cut the mesh using my utility knife. Okay, all right, stand by, YouTube, and it's gonna be a lot of cutting, so I gotta pause the video. Okay, YouTube, I'm back here, and as you can see, I've carefully cut out my little strips. I got 2 left over, and I've separated them. I've kind of put them in between the plates, you know, just kind of keep tabs on where I was. And essentially, I think it comes out to be like 45 of these little strips, maybe more. I think it's around 45. And just, you know, so the next step is to put the cell back together. Okay. And the plates are sufficiently dry. They're dry now. I mean, they were a little damp earlier because they came out of the case, but now they're really dry. And now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this to kind of dust off any debris that came from the ground or from, you know, the casing itself, the plastic. So I'm just going to kind of wipe them down and put them together. Okay, stand by, YouTube. Okay, YouTube, I'm back here, and as you can see, I'm at the halfway point, and hopefully you can see how I have my spacers in there, my insulation material, and you can see how I've got the positive and negative terminals connected. So I'm at the halfway point. So let's continue. Okay, YouTube, and I wanted to show you the final layering before I put on this very last plate. And you can see here, the more layers that I put on it, the smaller those holes become, or so it's not impossible for the thing to short, obviously, but it makes it a lot more difficult for it to short. And you can see how the layers overlap the plates, on the sides and at the rear and at the front. So the idea here is to electrically isolate each one of the plates so that it will not be shorted out and the plate can function normally. Okay, stand by, YouTube, and let's button it up. Okay, YouTube, I've used some clamps to hold it in place while I tighten down the nuts on the lugs, and you can see that so far so good. And this is how I'll also put it back inside of the container. You can see how each one of the plates is isolated. You can see the clamps I have in 3 different areas. So hopefully it's even pressure throughout. And most importantly, we have to test to make sure that these things here are again electrically isolated and they're not shorted. So if I can just put it here, so you can see there's no sound if I did it here. Obviously, I'm testing for continuity. So here, okay, so there is no short. There is no short. So I think at this point we can essentially call it good. And I'm gonna put it back inside of the cell, inside of the container. First I'm gonna rinse it out, and plus I'm gonna do some cleaning underneath here to get some of that rust off. But other than that, these plates look pretty good. I tightened down the lugs so you can look how things are spaced. And this is the final product of the cell. Okay, all right, stand by, YouTube. Okay, let's see. Okay, YouTube, I've got the cell back together. I've cleaned it. Got some of the rust off of the terminals, and I've filled it with electrolyte. And looking at it, you can see that it's just below the max mark. The electrolyte is clean. The plates are clean. You can see how the spacing is done with the material, and you can see up on top there. So all that's required now is to begin the charging process. I've checked for continuity to make sure there's no shorts, and there is none. And I believe we are good to go. All right, take care, YouTube, and thanks for watching. Okay, YouTube, and then this final segment, I've got the cell, the new cell, connected up to my my bench power supply, And this time I'm taking up taking a different approach. And this, I'm going to use the current, constant current control as opposed to constant voltage. So I'm going to hit it with the, maybe 29. Actually, I'm going to go up just a little bit here. 30 amps. So I'm going to control the current to the cell, 30 amps, and that way, I'll know it'll stay consistent, and I think it get a better charge. And right now, the current voltage is 1.62 going in the bank, so that's not bad. That's not bad. I can deal with that. I expect the voltage to rise as more current goes into the cell itself, and it's so far so good. So far so good. So 1.6 volts, and at 30 amps. Okay, let's take a look at the other cell. Okay, YouTube, in this segment here, again, this is, I want this to be the final. I just wanted to kind of show you folks. I still have that particular cell in with my total battery bank, and last I checked, its voltage is at 1.65, and that's what I expect, 1.65. And let's see, as far as the state of charge, okay, and my battery bank itself, according to the Whiz Bang Jr., my state of charge is 100%. And current voltage is 32.9 or 31.9, which is basically 32 volts. And if you take 32 and you divide it by 19, you'll get the charge that each one of these cells should have. And that's generally around 1.65. And about 49 amps coming in. So so far that cell is acting in a way that I expect. I expect it to essentially be hold the charge in the battery bank along with the other cells at approximately 1.65 volts, because my absorbed voltage is 32 volts. And if you take 32 and divide it by 19, you'll get approximately what each cell should be doing. So it's doing very well. Okay. All right. Take care, YouTube.